Thank you for tuning into The Awakening. This is your host, Shontal Bettis-Brown. Once again, this is season 2, episode 2. And I am so happy to be back with you guys. Today, what we're going to discuss for this week, this is a fresh week, new beginnings. I truly believe in new beginnings. I believe in, starting over again. Let's get it right. One of the things I wanted to discuss today is a word that, on this season, I said earlier on last week that it was going to be a more personal season for me. I was going to talk about and discuss, have people to come on, and we're going to just discuss different stuff that, it may hurt right now, but we're going to get through it. And I do believe when the truth, what they say, when the son is set free, he's free indeed. When the truth is out, you can really heal on a bunch of things. And one of the things personally for me, I look at 2020 and I see that a lot of people still hold on to grudges. If they're not holding on to grudges, they still holding on to what somebody did to them in the past. And I'm like, okay, 2020, we haven't ever seen nothing like this before. It's a lot of stuff that we have never seen. And you still have people walking around here to and fro, like old Lucifer in Job, to and fro, seeking who he may devour. And people are not really forgiving. They still holding grudges, they still mad, they still acting out. It's like, at what point in life do you grow up and you change and you just say, okay, I'm going to take an initiative and I'm going to try to be a better me, no matter what somebody else do? Because in order to, just think, if everybody was to get on one path and to be a better them, how the world would really truly be. Because if you got everybody acting the same way like some are doing, how are we going to ever get on one accord? How are we going to reach that point in this world that we are really just at a good space? But you can't. And so I say that, because for me, I know it's hard, to forgive. I know forgiveness is something that, you know, it's certain things that happen to people, especially in the childhood. In childhood, I feel like, there's a saying that they say, that a lady had told me one time before when I was discussing, certain issues, and she said, you know what your problem is? If you heal the little girl in you, the adult would appear. And after she said that, I never paid attention to it. I started seeing it on Facebook. People started seeing it on Facebook. And, and I never, certain things I look at, certain things I don't. But I started realizing, it's a lot of broken people out here. And they broken because of their childhood. They broken because of what happened to them years ago as a child. So you have broken people raising broken kids, teaching them broken ways, teaching them hurting people, and like they say, hurt people hurt people. And so I was like, I really want to talk about this. I really want to get this out in the opening, because I feel like, I have went through 2019, my life uh took a detour. I did something that I regret. Lord knows I regret it to this day. I really regret it. I regret it for myself. I regret it for my family. I regret it for my friends. People around me. Most definitely my kids and my husband, because you people react in ways, and and sometimes you do stuff that's not of you, but certain things happen and you react, and when you react too fast and I think about your action, it leads to destruction. There's no ifs ands or buts about it. So it taught me two things. It taught me one thing mainly: trust the Lord in all thy ways. Trust him no matter what, no matter what it looked like or whatever, because at 41, 42 years old, I wasn't trusting him like I should have. Because if I was, I wouldn't have made the decision that I made. And I went through so much turmoil behind it. And it wasn't so much as what people thought about me and how people looked at me, because I have this thing where integrity means a lot to me. It says a lot about your character. But at some point in time, you we as humans, we do stuff, there's and your name is your name is very important. I know one time this lady told me also before as far as my name. I couldn't stand my name. I'm like, who name? It's Shontal. Why did they name me Shontal? But if you really look at it, the teachers used to say Shontal Bettis, and I'm like, no, it's Shontal Bettis. And so your name goes a long way. And like I say, integrity is everything to me. And I feel like I dropped it. I lost it at one point in time. But at the same time, I had to realize too, who in this world is perfect. uh, Whoever without sin cast the first stone. There's no sin in the Bible that's greater than the other. Sin is sin, and it is what it is. So my sin that I probably that I did is you probably do some people do worse. You have adulterers out there. You have fornicators. It's a lot of fornicators out there, and let me say, it's a lot. So with that being said, you really can't call the kettle black in some instances, and a lot of things that go on, because a lot of people do a lot of stuff. But I say this to say, forgiveness. One of the things that bothered me was forgiveness for myself. And forgiveness is it is an action. It's a process of forgiving or being forgiven. That is the meaning of it. And so when you walk around and you hold in strife, it's the one thing to hold in strife because of somebody that did something to you, but it's a whole nother ball game when you holding in strife for your own self. When you look at yourself in the mirror and you just really basically question yourself, judge yourself. One thing I came to realize, can't nobody affect me and beat me down like I beat myself down. And once I got that power back to me, what people thought, what people said, what people do, or whatever around me that comes against me, it's nothing to me. Because I feel like I done beating myself up so much to the point where whatever you saying or whatever you doing, it ain't no worse than I made myself feel. So with that being said, I had to learn and I had to forgive. And it was times where, I still, go back and forth and complain. And I'm like, Lord, there's this saying where I can forgive you, but I won't forget. And it's like, oh God. Now how you deal with that with yourself? And so I had to really just go in prayer, about it, and not let it just be my test, but make it my testimony. Because I really had to free myself from it. I had to ask God to, not me, but I had to ask God to help me let it go and free myself of that guilt, that I went through as for what I did. Because it took a lot. I started getting anxiety. I was depressed. I was sleepless nights. I started having pains in my stomach. It's a whole lot that comes with forgiveness. And when I look back at everybody around me, and I see people, conversating and, you know, um, speaking on certain things that, you know, even with getting together with family, friends, and just certain conversations, I'm like, you still holding on to that? But at some point we have to be mature, and we have to be, the main thing with forgiveness that sticks with me, in order to be forgiven you have to be teachable. And that's one of the biggest words you will always hear me say: effective, teachable, and just shut up and listen. Because in order to be taught, you got to be able to hear. And if you're always talking and you're always giving your input, and this person did this to me and this person did that to me, you can never receive the healing process of where you need to be and letting it go. And being able to be teachable, um, on the forgetting part, but not the forgetting part, it is two different things in a sense, but it all collides. You have to be able to let it go. You have to go to God, and you have to, even God said in his word, if you can't forgive your brother, I can't forgive you. With that being said, why would I want to put myself in a predicament where I do all these good deeds? I do what the Lord tells me to do. I do what I'm that light that he calls to be. I'm that disciple that he's using. I'm his daughter that he's using to do certain things. Get all the way to heaven. He opened the door and look at me and be like, so you couldn't forgive such and such, or you couldn't really forgive yourself? Do you know how many times I can say you have did stuff and I had to forgive you and say, oh, here comes Shontal again. There she go, jacking up again or messed up again. Do you know how many? What if he keeps a record of our wrongdoing? And I thought about it. I said, how do people go to hell? Because I wonder, do he really keep a record? Don't, I'm like, don't pay me no attention. That was just a joke. But it goes to say, how effective are you with forgiving? We have to teach our kids. One of the things that I tell my kids, well, is you have to be teachable on forgiving, but and really just release yourself. You can't just hold on to these grudges and hold things that that's not doing you no justice. You know, uh, I had to confront somebody that did something to me, and when I tell y'all, it took everything in my power not to, just act the way I wanted to act, and yeah, I thought about it. I said, what is wrong with me? I mean, why am I acting like? Because if you truly forgive somebody, your attitude will be totally different. It's like you address the issue and you just let it go. A lot of us hold grudges, against our kids, daddies. Especially when you have kids out of wedlock. That is a whole nother conversation, a whole nother topic, and will be discussed on the awakening. But I say this to say, we hold people accountable for doing certain things to us, but it's not what people do to us, it's what we allow. And I feel like when it's forgiveness, look back at a lot of forgiveness and figure out especially when you grown, what did you allow in order for that hurt to come? Some of the things that we battle with forgiveness, it's not really the person's fault. It's what we allowed to come in because we wasn't hearing God's voice, or we wasn't doing what we were supposed to do, or we wasn't being led as to what to do for that person. And you got people that just hold grudges, that just refuse to forgive. And so 2020, I actually got to see people, see and listen to people talk about how their loved ones died, and just to think of somebody dying and nobody is there beside them. They're dying by themselves, and you got the next person in the next room that crying. I mean, at home crying because you did not take that chance to say, I'm sorry, or I forgive you, or whatever the case may be. I literally wonder how many people sat in that hospital with the coronavirus, fighting for their life, with the option and with the chance, on their only chance is wanting to say is either I love you, I forgive you, or can you forgive me? And that is one of the things that, I think about the most, other than forgiving yourself for things. It's like, at what point do we grow up and we just say, okay, enough is enough. It's a new year. It's a new me. It's a new change. Let's change that, because we literally raising kids nowadays. I mean, it's not going to be good for these children that's growing up nowadays, compared to how it was in our days. The thing now, back in the day, um, they didn't really see and pay attention to the things that we, the new parents age, see today. They didn't get a chance. They didn't have to battle with the computers and battle with the electronics and all this and all that stuff like this, which the new age parent, we have to battle with it. And we have to battle with certain spirits. And one of the things, we do see certain spirits, and we do see how strong they are if we are living in, God, and he gives you that, you can see it. You can see the heaviness amongst this earth. And one of the things that I want to happen is for us as parents to stop pouring out our hurt on our kids, pouring out our hurt on our families, and let things go. Because when you heal, you grow. You grow. It's only to me, the dumbest person in the world is one that don't want to forgive. Now, I mind you, it's a lot of things that people that been done dirt to, or things that happen that, you be like, oh, ain't no way I can forgive that person for doing this to me. And it is possible. You have, but there's strength in God, and there's strength in his word. There's strength in love. You got to love thy enemies. Love thy enemies as you love thyself. And you have to pull this love, this act of kindness out from anywhere. Because one of the things that got me was, okay, what if my enemy was my nurse? If, was one of my family members nurses, or one of my friends nurses, and I want them to live, and I want to be able to talk to them, and they be like, no, I'm not finna call them because they don't like me. You could just record a message. It's like when I tell y'all, I think about stuff in a totally different way. I get deep with my thinking because, and some people say, Sean, you overthink things, and I probably do. But this is one topic that I feel like in 2021, we should not be fighting. Forgiveness. It's time to let a bunch of stuff go, and let's just heal the child in us, and let's grow up, and so we can make sure these kids don't be crazy like we are. Because some of us is crazy. We crazy with our words, we crazy with our actions, we crazy with our thoughts, and it's all because we operating out of unforgiveness. We operating out of hurt. We operating out of depression. We operating out of stress. We operating out of anxiety. Let it go. Forgive. Forget. Let it go. Ask God to help you, cleanse you, do whatever that you need to do in order to get healed in that position. If you don't trust, preachers, and you got a lot of people that don't believe in going to church and stuff no more, and that's fine, and then it's not, but you have to go to God yourself to get certain things healed. And a lot of people don't go because of what? They can't forgive that person that did stuff to them. Or they can't forget it. Go to God in prayer. Ask him to help you, lead you, and guide you. I have been there, done it. When I tell y'all, if y'all only knew the battles that I have fought because of Shontal allowed or Shontal did, and the forgiveness aspect part of it is me. The biggest part was forgiving myself because I allowed it. I did it. Or if I would have been in his will and hearing closely and listening closely, or just seeing from his eyes and how he would operate, I probably would have went through a whole lot of things that I went through. A lot of things. I just forgave my God forgive me. I have to just put it out there. I forgave my child's father. I was like, I'm not gonna let him talk to her. He don't need to discuss nothing with her. There's nothing he could say. He didn't really afflict. He did something to me, so he did it to her. There's not necessarily true. It is, you do look at it like if he try to hurt me, then he hurting her because I'm her mama. But a person anger will only go so far, and a person will only operate so far. Some people won't harm their children. Some people won't do so. Would I think he harmed his child? No, I do not. But I had to let it go because I didn't want to be that wedge between them as she grow up. I feel like, I'm going to let her handle or deal with him accordingly. When she get older, that's how she get. And I forgave him. I don't hold no ill feelings against him or none of that. I pray I pray for him and his family that they, that my daughter continue to love them, that we continue to show love towards them. And I teach her. I don't teach her to say nothing negative, nothing bad, nothing ugly. No, we don't do that. We're not going to operate like that. You going to love and you going to forgive and we going to let it go and we going to rest assured that this one generation of curse, your mama ain't finna pass down to you. And that's how you have to look at it. It's like you got the teacher, you got to put it out there now. So like I say, that is one topic. That is only one topic that we're gonna be discussing because there's many more out there that I'm finna shed some light on, and I'm finna sip some tea behind these shows because we got to heal. We got to heal because we got to forgive. We got to be teachable. We got to set the standard. We got to be examples. It's a lot of things that we as the human race has to do. You got racial profiling going on. You got so much going on in this world that's causing strife and division and causing things to be afflicted among us that we don't have time to be holding unnecessary grudges. Oh, she slept with my mind. Girl, was y'all married? See, a bunch of y'all holding strife because of a baby daddy that God didn't give you anyway. You just went out there and slept with him anyway. But that's neither here nor there. I'm not finna go there. I'm just putting it out there. If when God give you stuff, He gonna make sure it's gonna be together, baby. It's gonna be some issues. I ain't gonna say it's gonna be perfect, but it's certain things he ain't gonna let come near your dwelling if you in prayer and you laboring like you should. So let me just leave that alone. That's neither here nor there, but it's the truth. So you hold it unforgiveness. You don't like a person because of what they did to you in high school or elementary. Have you ever thought that person that did something to you, that talked about you, that judged you, that really didn't do any physical harm but did mental harm as far as words or whatever, I have came to the conclusion and came to realize that a lot of people that talk about people and judge people, they broke in themselves. They just trying to get themselves out the heat. They don't know no better. Them kids back in the day, kids didn't know about it. That's how they did. That's how they fought. That was their way of getting out their anger. So to hold something against somebody that I look back now and be like, oh, I didn't know that they went through that as a child. But now that I think about it, that's probably why they did me or talking about me the way they talked about me, because they was dealing with some stuff. Hurt people. And, I can go on and on, but I'm not. But I just want to thank y'all for tuning in to The Awakening. I appreciate y'all so much. And these upcoming weeks, we are going to be discussing some major stuff. When I say some major stuff, one of the biggest topics of them all. Oh, I can't tell you. You got to tune in and continue to tune in to listen. And I do have guests coming, and I just want to thank the Reggie Whitley podcast platform for giving me this opportunity once yet again. And I just, like I say, I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to the Awakening experience. It's going to be one for the books. All right. Have a great week and be prayerful. It's spring break. Be careful, people. Cover yourself with the mask. Even though they lifting all this stuff, cover yourself, protect yourself. A lot of people say, let me just say this. Oh, you trust the Lord as far as the mask, but the Bible did say obey the lands of the law. So with that being said, you can't have it both ways. You either here or there. I'm gone. All right. Good day.